You just joined ESO, or you are returning from a long hiatus and you're wondering, hey, how does this guy get 20 million gold? Well, hi, I'm the Casual Lamer. I specialize on gold making tips, gold making guides, and drop chance guides. And in this video, you will learn everything you need to know to get started with making gold. These tips will get you to your first million gold in no time. There are chapters in the description. If there is any tip that you're not particularly interested in, no worries, you can just skip it. We start with the most basic and we go to the more advanced tips in the end. So without further ado, let's go. And we are starting out very basic with daily crafting writs. In any major city, you will come across these little boards here. They have a teal-ish like a quest marker, which indicates it's a repeatable quest. And when you accept these, you will notice that it looks a bit different for me, right? That's because this little icon here, this here, is from Columbine's Lazy Writ Crafter. That's an add-on. I highly recommend getting that if you have if you're playing on PC, that is, because it will automatically accept all these quests and also will craft them automatically for you. But for me, I already have it because I already crafted that previous days. So why would you do these? Okay, so you have 7 professions in the game, right? So you have 7 different crafting writs. You can do these every day and they will reward you with great materials. And with great materials, I'm for instance talking about dragwax and tempering alloy. This is dragwax. Dragwax is one of the, or it's the most expensive gold upgrading material. And you have a chance of 1 in 3 to get it when you accept and complete the clothing crafting writ. So you do these every day. You have 7 of these. Obviously, it is more profitable if you have your skills in the professions already maxed out, so that's something you should go for. But if you're just starting out with the game, that's probably not something that you can get right away, but it is a long-term goal, and I will show you if I hand these in with the Columbine's Lazy Writ Crafter. You can see everything is automatically, it's very simple, it's a very basic tip. That is, it is, I think daily writs are essential in making gold. It's one of the basic things you can do, and the add-on is also right now unpacking all the boxes I have just received, and I can sell the stuff that I don't need and put the stuff that I don't want into the bank, which is also done by an add-on, but that would be more advanced, and this is a basic guide, so that's daily writs for you. Just to give you a quick idea how many players are setting up their account, you can see I have 10 characters, all are maxed on level 50, and what I am doing is I do these daily crafting writs with them every day. I didn't mean to log in, but whatever. So if you have 10 characters, you have essentially a, let's say, a daily income of like 200,000 gold on PC EU, that is. Obviously this changes with the economy changing as well, but like something like 200k is reasonable to expect with 10 characters every day. The next tip is for the players who have access to add-ons, which are the PC players and at some point the console players as well. So maybe you see that in the future. Hi, console player, you have add-ons now. So one of the most essential add-ons you can get in the game is TTC, which is short for Tamriel Trade Center. This will show you the sale averages for every material in the game. We can see here, tempering alloy, for instance, the sale average is 4,488.16 gold. And this will obviously update whenever the sale averages will change. So this is an essential add-on. If you want to get into trading, into gold making in ESO, you will absolutely have to have TTC. It is no discussion about it, you will need this add-on. Otherwise, you are just crippling yourself for no particular reason, so definitely get TTC. In that same sentence, it's not just TTC that you want, my dear friend. You also want another add-on that is called Awesome Guild Store. And I will show you why. Because Awesome Guild Store changes the whole overlay for the guild trader, and you see here everything looks a lot different. And that's because Awesome Guild Store reworks all of that. You can have your own tabs here, you can have customized tabs that will always search for what you have put in here. It's incredibly useful. And not only that, it's not only great to search for stuff, also selling is a lot easier, because now you can just put stuff in and it will remember the price you have set for it, and it just puts it in like that. Easy peasy. Awesome Guild Store, definitely an add-on you want alongside TTC if you want to get started in making gold. Now you might be wondering, hey, I'm not part of a guild, how do I get into a guild? Well, no problem, my friend. Just press G on PC and you will find a little nice tab here that is called Guild Finder. And in Guild Finder you can browse guilds, and when you want to get more gold, obviously you will have to join a guild that is specialized in trading. What is important to keep in mind when scouting for a guild is that they need to have a guild trader. Guild traders are only available for that particular guild for 1 week. After that, they will have to win the bid again for that particular guild trader. So it can happen that when you join a guild that has, for instance, a guild, the Argonian Barbecue right here, has a guild trader in Morkul Stronghold. That is a very bad guild trader spot, but whatever. So it can happen when you join this guild that in 1 week from now, they have a different guild trader. It can also happen that they don't have a guild trader to begin with. So the smartest thing to do is to join 5 different guilds with 5 different guild trader locations. And these guild trader locations vary heavily with how good they are. For instance, let's see here, Rimmen. Rimmen is a, I would say, B tier guild trader. Then we have Eldenroot, for instance, that's a, I'd say A tier, maybe also B plus tier. But what you want to get to at some point, your end goal is to get into guilds that have the Vivec City traders. I personally am in the NWO, Northwatch Order that is. NWO is a bit of a conspiracy theory, but whatever. And they have the Lawful Dare in Vivec City, which is the best, the absolute best guild trader in the entire game. However, every player, or all the guilds rather, know this. So this guild trader is very expensive to obtain. That's why these guilds have always a higher sales requirement. You see here, our rules, 350k sales a week. So you will have to have sales of 350,000 gold a week to not get kicked out of this guild. Don't worry about this right away. You will not get into a guild like this when you are just starting out at level 5. Just go for a guild that does not have any sales requirements. For instance, Summer Rose, they do have a guild trader in Riften, and they don't have any sale requirements. So you can just get in there. Don't be anxious about not selling enough. It's a great start at some point. You have to start somewhere. That's what I'm trying to say here. And getting into a guild that doesn't have any sales requirements is the go-to. And then you can work your way upwards to like guilds like Northwatch Order, which is amazing because the sales are great. You can sell for higher amounts and you never really sit on any mats. Just to give you a quick idea why the Vivec City trader is so great, you can see there are plenty of guild traders around here. Here is one, here is one, here is one, and also here is one, here is one. But this one is the best. Northwatch Order, that's the guild I just talked about with you. And the reason that's the best is Vivec City is one of, if not the most popular trading, or not trading, crafting hotspot. Most people do their crafting rits here. That's because everything is easily accessible, the bank is easily accessible, it's not behind the loading screen, and also Vardenfell is part of the base game. So if you're watching this video right now, you're new to the game, no problem, you can do your stuff here as well. And Lawful Dare is so popular because it's so close to everything else. Every other guild trader is a teensy bit further away, so everybody will check this guild trader first. That's why the sales are so great, and I'm gonna tell you, The bids for this guild trader, they are in the hundreds of millions. So that's why the sales requirements for these guilds is so high, and that's why you will not get into this guild right away. So keep your eyes open for guilds that don't have any sales requirements. The next tip is especially interesting for those of you who like to farm some materials from time to time, because you see, the raw materials in Elder Scrolls Online can be refined to processed materials. And as you can see here, we can refine the raw Ancestor Silk and the Rubido Hide Scrap. However, before you do that, I highly recommend you to have the necessary crafting skills for that to increase your chances to get the best materials that you can. So it's for blacksmithing, it's the metal extraction. For clothing, it's unraveling. For enchanting, that's not necessary. For jewelry crafting, it is the jewelry extraction, and so forth. For wood extraction, it is, well, the wood extraction one. On top of that, you want the crafting perk Meticulous Disassembly. Since update 45, you will not have to slot this anymore. And if you are just starting out with the game, this might seem a bit overwhelming right now, but I'm just telling you some of the things that you will work towards too, because a Meticulous Disassembly is essentially an essential perk that you want at all times. So keep an eye on that, keep this one in mind, and keep all the other skills in mind as well. However, I am aware that if you're just starting out and you just want to play the game, you are not interested in waiting until you get the necessary skills for that. I get that, it's just something to keep in mind, alright? If you are interested to go into depth about this, I made a whole video about refining data drop chances, alright? It goes very much into depth, and you will learn about every single drop chance from these processed materials. Check it out, you can watch it here. Across your journeys in Tamriel, you will come across a lot of different materials, and all of that can be pretty overwhelming. However, one thing I would recommend to new players always is to always pick a Columbine. That's this little plant here. This is how this looks. And the reason I'm recommending that to all of you is because you can get this from level 1. So you can get Columbine from max level 50 characters and from a level 1 character as well. This material will hold value all the way from level 1 to level 50. And it is one of the most expensive alchemy reagents in the entire game. As of right now, PC EU values it at around 1.1k gold. There is another material that I would like to point your attention to, and it's violet Coprinus. We will have a look if you find one. And here we have the violet Coprinus. This is how the violet Coprinus looks like. This is essentially the second most valuable reagent you can get in the base game. It is valued at around 400 gold on PC EU right now. And if you are wondering, hey, which zone do I have to go to for this one? Don't you worry. All of the zones are the same. You get the same materials from every zone in the entire game. So you needn't worry about that. And when we talk about materials, I would like to draw your attention to Furnishing Materials. Furnishing Materials are an additional drop that you can get from the raw materials that you harvest from the world. For instance, you can get rough ruby ash as a raw material from the world. However, you have a chance to get hardwood. Hardwood is one of the 4 or I think it's 5 furnishing materials that are in the game, and these are generally pretty sought after and pretty expensive, and that's because people like to furnish their homes. For furniture, you need quite a lot of these materials, and it is an easy way to get good gold in the beginning of the game. Hardwood is the most expensive one that you can get. After this, it goes to the mundane runes for enchanting. Alchemy has the alchemical resin, which is kind of not that much worth that much, to be frank. For jewelry crafting, we have ochre, and for blacksmithing, we have Regulus. Keep your eye out for these materials. Like I said, this is a great way to start out with getting gold. It's pretty easy to get this on the side, so don't toss these away. Please don't toss hardwood away, alright? Hardwood is very sought after, okay? Okay, next step. The next tip isn't necessarily a tip on how you can make gold, it's rather an advice for you to not waste gold. You see how gear works in Elder Scrolls Online is that it caps out at champion point 160. And you can see I'm champion point 1580 and my gear is still CP 160. That's not because I suck, I mean I do, but that's not because I suck, it's because the armor maxes out at CP 160. And the thing is, don't waste money on gear early on. What you want to do is you want to save up your gold and only really craft armor and weaponry and all that stuff once you hit CP 160. Because before that, it's not really something that you profit off of too much, because the overland content is super easy. It's unfortunate that this is the case, but look at this mob here, and dead. Right? It's very easy. So don't waste your gold on gear early on. The only thing you can argue for is gear that has the training trait. With the training trait, you get extra experience from kills. But since this is a gold guide and not an experience guide, we will get to the next tip. Next up is a very quick tip in your champion point skill tree, in the crafting tree that is. You want Master Gatherer and Plentiful Harvest as your go-to perks that you can work towards to. Master Gatherer will reduce the time it takes to harvest by 10%, so in total you can get to 50% time reduction, and Plentiful Harvest will give you a 50% chance to get double the resource yield. It's a necessity in general if you want to farm materials. However, this is something that you can work towards to. This is not something you will get right at level 1 or anything close to that. The Antiquity system is, in other words, ESO's archaeology feature. You can unlock it in Solitude and Western Skyrim when you have access to the Greymoor chapter. However, leveling Scrying, the associated skill line, can take quite a while. In order to make this a bit more profitable, you should always scry for the baseline antiquities in every zone. The lowest tier you will have access to in any zone is green. Upon successful completion, you will unlock the blue antiquity. These steps can be repeated indefinitely. However, after completing the blue antiquity, you unlock a purple antiquity that you can do once every zone. This purple antiquity is worth 5,000 gold. The blue is 1,000 and the green one is 500. That isn't a crazy amount, but when you have to level the skill line anyway, it's a nice little byproduct. Too long, didn't listen, complete all 3 baseline antiquities for each zone and move to the next one. Another option would be to level your scrying in Artaeum. This zone is very small and therefore making your way to the next dig site very swift. As a matter of fact, I made a video about if farming antiquities is worth it that features Artaeum heavily. You can watch it here. The next tip is quite simple. You should always grab the zone dailies for every zone you are currently questing in. The reason behind this is the fact that you don't have to specifically do these quests, but whenever you are questing in a zone for the story or whatever, you might as well accept them, because it could happen that you come across these quests just naturally. We're gonna have a look here. There's always like 3 quests in the zone. There's a delve, there's a world boss, and usually the incursion. The incursion is different for every zone basically. The base game has the dolmens, you might have heard of these before. For Somerset, which is frankly one of the fan favorites in the community, are the geysers. Well, the geysers themselves are not a fan favorite, but the zone itself is a fan favorite. That's what I'm trying to say. And if you are completing the zone, you might as well come across these little geysers, and usually a few people are doing them, so you might as well grab it. And the reason you want to grab these is not just because you get some extra experience, but you get reward coffers. And these reward coffers can offer you quite some nice stuff, namely crafting motifs. In this instance, it would be the Sapiarch style that you can sell on the guild trader or learn for yourself. We're gonna have a look here. We're gonna accept these and then I'm gonna let you in on what you can get from these reward coffers, shall we? And here we are approaching one of the geysers that is currently active. It will always have these little swords crossed through the symbol to indicate that this one is currently active. You will only see that once you have discovered this specific geyser, and in this case actually nobody's doing it. That could also be because it's like 11 AM on a weekday. So yeah, you do these geysers here, and once we are completed with this one, oh yeah, and by the way, if you're new to the game, you will probably not be able to solo these. I, however, am able to because I'm pretty far progressed in the game. My gear is decent. Yeah, and the reason why you won't be able to solo this is maybe not necessarily because of the trash mobs, but these here are essentially world bosses, and they can pack quite a punch. Especially this one, if you stand in the AoE, you're in for a bad time, alright? So let's have a look in it, and we're actually kind of lucky. We got the Sapiok shoulders. This is 2,700 gold. It's not that much, don't get me wrong. But if you are starting out with the game, it's a nice little boost for your gold. Also, don't miss out on these style materials. There are style materials in the game that are quite pricey. And in Somerset specifically, colander lacquer is pretty popular. The reason is because it is needed for a lot of furnishings that are very popular. So as you can see here, I just did the quest that I would have reasonably been able to do on the side as well. And I just made, what, 7,000 gold? Just for stuff I would have done anyway. So don't miss out on these. The next tip is a quite simple one, however it is often forgotten. So you see, when a new event drops, there is usually a new style page. Well, not a style page specifically, but like a new style in general. For instance, right now we have the Jesters Festival alive. And with the Jesters Festival, there comes new style pages. And if you come across these style pages when you engage in the event, your first impulse might be to learn them because you don't have them. However, when these style pages are new, your first goal, if you want to make gold that is to sell them right away, as fast as humanly possible. And the reason for that is because the prices for these will drop dramatically quickly. So let's say the event is live for 1 day and you get one of these style pages. You can see here the sale average right now is 12.8k. However, when the event started 3 days ago, they were on 25,000 gold. So when you got a style page in that time frame, you sell it right away for 25,000. If you are now saying, hey, Lamer, I want that style page though, because it looks great, then you shall not worry. What you do is simply you sell all of these as fast as possible. And when the event comes to an end, the prices will have dropped so much that you can just buy them off guild traders and still made a nice little profit. This is a very small tip, but this is something that a lot of people miss out on. So don't learn these style pages right away, okay? You can always get them in hindsight too. And for our last tip for today, we are covering the most advanced tips so far. You see, in the Elder Scrolls Online, farming materials is something I personally like to do because it is worth some gold. However, you might notice in the beginning of playing for yourself that your character is quite slow. So here's a recommendation: get one of the Adept Riders sets. You can see here the 5 items set bonus grants you Gallop and Major Expedition at all times, increasing your movement speed by 30% and mounted speed by 15%. That makes you a lot faster in the world. We can equip these and you will see I am very fast. On top of that, that is a very far goal for you right now. But on top of that, you can try to work towards the Ring of the Wild Hunt Mythic. Mythic items can be acquired with the scrying system. So if you remember our previous tip about the scrying system, now you have a bit of a motivation of why you would want to go for scrying. As you can see here, the Ring of the Wild Hunt gives me an additional movement speed bonus by 15%. while I'm in combat and a 45% while out of combat. So let's get that one on as well. And I'm just zooming. Keep in mind that your sprint speed or your movement speed on foot is limited to 200%. So at some point you will not get any more speed. But you can see here, if I want to farm right now, I'm so fast, I don't even have to mount on my horsey. So this is something you can work towards to if you are anything like me that likes to farm materials, because this is just too fast. And there we have it. These are all the tips I have for you today. I hope they were helpful for you. Which of these tips was the most interesting for you? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this kind of content and if you'd like to make more gold in the future, then subscribing to the channel is a pretty freaking great idea. Also, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. And as always, I leave you with, I hope you have a great day. I hope you have an awesome day. You take care of yourself, and I will see you next time.